All right, so I'm outside of the 2020 Honda Passport, and this is the touring model, and this specific model is two-wheel drive. But I'll start you at the front of this car and just kind of walk you around and show you some different features. So as far as headlights, LED headlights, you got LED daytime running lights and then LED fog lights. So on the front end of this car, you can see I've got the classic honeychrome grille, and then I've got the big Honda emblem, and right behind that emblem is actually where you'll find the radar for this car related to Honda sensing that I'll go over when we get inside of the car. Now moving up, you'll see there's also a camera right up top here, so you can see that little trapezoid cutout. I'll talk about that camera here shortly too. So let's move around this car and talk about the exterior first, then we'll move into the interior. So the first thing I want to point out is you do have a 20-inch wheel on this, and it's kind of like a graphite gray to it, so a nice profile view there. And then moving up to your mirrors, you can see that you do have breakaway mirrors with LED indicator turn signals in there, so they will bend in case something bumps them, so I always like to let you know that. And then on top of the car, you do have a rail system already set up for you, so if you want to buy the crossbars to go across for whatever you may be doing, you're absolutely set up for that. So let's move around to the back of the car. Part of owning a touring model, which you'll see is badged right here on the back of the car, is that it does come with a powered tailgate, so I can just walk up, throw my hand underneath, and it'll pop open automatically for me. And then I will point out, you can see some small circles down here on the bottom of the bumper, and this is going to be where your parking sensors are. So you do have parking sensors on this car in the front and the back too. So in the back interior, the first thing I'll point out is you do have right here your carpet floor mats come standard with the car. I've got some cubby holes here for spacing to use, and then I do have additional storage underneath. So if I pop this open, I've got a storage container right here that I can use, which is nice. And then if you're wondering where your spare to this car is, they haven't trapped it underneath the car where you have to play that game. It's actually in the back here. And then you've got some additional storage space here that you could hide stuff in. So I like that they've given you all this storage because there's a lot of different things you could do with it. You know, if you're an audio person, you want to hook up an amp or sub, you could hide a lot of that back here. Or if you just want additional storage. So this funnel back here is related to your gas cap. So on your gas cap, actually before we move to the gas cap, let's pop down the back seat. So I'll point out you do have buttons right here. So if I press my button here, it'll throw my seat down automatically for me. And what I really like about this car is it is super flat. So it gives you a really nice surface to use in case you were messing with anything, camping or anything like that, and you need a nice flat surface to use, or you're laying out a mirror or whatever it may be. I like that they've given you that. It's not slanted or anything like that. So let's move around to the side of the car here. Now I was mentioning the gas cap earlier, and the reasoning for that is it's a capless setup. So what I will do is here, let's see if we can pop that open real quick, and we'll go over that. So my gas cap setup is actually right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that open here. And then I'll actually pop the hood because we'll come back to the hood too. So my gas cap, you can see that I have a capless setup, so I would need that funnel you saw if I ran out of gas and I needed to fill it up. I could push that in, it'll hold it open while I pour gas into it using whatever tool I have. So that's the function of that funnel in case you ever need to use it, and you'll see it kind of mentions something to that up here. So that is going to be related to your gas cap. Let's pop open the back door and we'll kind of look over this car here. So let me throw the seat back up here for me. It's a leather interior in your touring model, so EXL above is a leather interior. I've got lots of cubbies and storage space, cup holders, and all that. I do have sunshades in this model, so it's kind of nice if you got little ones. You can help protect them. And then in the back of the car, you do have heated seats in the touring model, which is really nice. And then additionally, I have AC controls right here, and then I have a 115 power outlet right here that I can access. And then I have USBs down here that are 2.5, so they're really good at charging. So if you got kids back here using tablets, this might come into play. And then of course you do have air vents back here. So let's hop back out of the back car and let's go to the front hood and we'll pop it open here just to show you a couple things. All right, so under the hood, you got a 280 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6. So this is gonna be the V6 that you find in our pickup truck, in our Pilot, and in our minivan. So you're gonna find this engine, which, let me see if I can pop this open with one hand and kind of show you what you're working with here. So they got everything protected with plastic, which you can call a good or a bad thing depending on how you wanna view it. As far as, your fuses, your CPU, your air, and then of course your engine has a cover on it here. You can see it's an Earth Dreams IV Tech engine. And then, windshield wiper fluid, my basic fluids I may need to mess with, dipsticks, that sort of thing. So you can access everything in this car pretty easy. The one thing I don't like though, is that you'll find over here, your battery is trapped underneath your air box over here. So you will have to take this piece off, which isn't hard. It disconnects and pops out. But if you need to get your battery, it's not the easiest to access, I should say, not access. So let's go ahead and hop in the car and we'll go over some different features. While I'm here, I'll just talk about the smart key entry system. So I can't put my hand, it'll automatically unlock, or I can lock the doors by pressing that and be able to walk away. It's just kind of nice. I don't have to get my keys out to do that. So getting into the car, I'll point out right here, you do have a 10-way powered seat. So front, back, left, right, my back adjustment, and then my lower lumbar support. And then moving over to the other side, I do have a powered 4-way setup. I do have memory seating in this car, so part of When you get up to this level of a touring, you got the memory seating set up right here. So if I want to set my seating, all I got to do is, press set. It'll flash when the car's turned on, and then I can set it. So easy enough to do. You press one and then press it once you've got your seat adjusted. And then the rest, your window controls, door locks, all that. And then of course your trunk release if you want to pop it open, your gas, and then you saw right there for your hood release. So let's go ahead and hop in the car and crank her up. All right, so starting on the interior of the car, you have the the engine start, which is also a remote start vehicle. So when you're looking at your key, you'll notice that you've got a standard setup here with a remote start button right there, and then your chill to open your trunk right there, powered. So easy to access. You just press the lock button first, and then press and hold to turn it on. If you want to turn it off, press the unlock and then press the remote start button, and that'll turn it off. So related to your key fob. So now that we've gotten the key, let's move over to the left side of the car, because you got some buttons over here that I want to go over with you. So the first one is your parking sensors. To turn those on right here, and if you turn them on, they'll stay on. The LED will let you know. So your parking sensors, front and the back of the car. Now, road departure mitigation is right here. So what that means is if I start to drive off the shoulder of the road, it'll give me an audible alert, and then it'll shake the wheel, be like, hey, wake up, pay attention, you're driving off the shoulder of the road. Above that is your collision mitigation braking system. So what this is if it's looking like you're gonna rear in another car, first it'll give you an audible alert, then it'll actually give you a visual alert, and then it'll start to apply the brakes to help prevent an accident. This is always running unless you press and hold this button to turn it off. You gotta press it for a couple seconds, and you'll get that warning letting you know it's turned off, and that'll stay over there in the orange where you can see it, letting you know that it's off. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back on as we move back down over here. And you gotta press it and hold it for a long time, so you're not gonna actually bump this one and turn it off. Next to it is vehicle stability assist. This works with traction control to prevent accidents. This is always on and running too. And what this does is if you're going into a skid, it'll transfer power to whichever wheel is getting better traction to help correct that skid. So that's vehicle stability assist. Now above that, you'll see that you do have your mirror controls here, so left and right, and then you can adjust on the knob here, which is just really nice. It makes it nice and easy to be able to adjust there. What's really cool about it, I like, is that if you have it to your far left over here, so I'll show you here. I'm gonna put the car in reverse here, but let me first make this as adjusted. So I got it all the way over. If I have it to the left side and I throw it in reverse, it'll automatically throw that mirror down for me. Then if I move it over to the right side, it'll do the right for me instead. And if I don't want it to do either one, I can put it in the center and it'll just keep me there, and it won't adjust for either one of those. Now, if I want to fold the mirrors in, I can do so with this button right here. So all I got to do is press it and it'll take care of my mirrors as far as folding them in. That way, if I'm pulling into the garage or whatever it may be, I can do that and then popping them out the same way. Now, next to that is your econ button. So to improve gas mileage of your car, I can press and turn this. When you see it, you'll see a green leaf up here there. And it's just letting you know that you're going to get better gas mileage, but it's a give and take system. So you're going to give up some of the acceleration on the car, and you're also going to give up a little bit of the AC power. So in doing so, you're getting better gas mileage. So that's the econ button, which is right here. Now, moving up onto your steering wheel here, I'm gonna start you on the left side and kind of walk you through some buttons. So the first is your volume controls right here. And then of course, your home button. So your home button is gonna affect the menu screen that you see back here. So I press that home button, you're gonna see here, and then I can toggle down and I can see all these different things in the menu. So I've turned every single one of these on right now, just so you can see them all. But what I really like about this is a lot of people are gonna say, hey, I'm not gonna use that menu. I don't wanna have to toggle through that. They give you that ability here, so I can hide certain ones. Some of them are gonna be locked so that they're always showing, but hey, I only use, I'm only an Apple or an Android user, I could turn one of them off. Right? So I could turn the aux input or whatever it may be off. Hey, I don't need to see the AM or whatever it may be. So it's kind of nice that they allow you to do that so that when you come back to this, you don't have to toggle through. So maybe you only want one or two things here. So that's how you can show and hide different things from the top. Now phone, this is just gonna be, hey, I wanna access, my phone settings, which are actually on the steering wheel too. So to answer a call, to hang up a call, and use voice command to call someone. So, hey, call so-and-so, use this. This also works for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which you'll notice over here on the touchscreen. So Apple CarPlay, Android Auto right here. If I plug my phone into the USB, which would be the one right here with the picture of the phone on it, it would give me access to those. So if you're an Android user, you need to download the Android Auto app. If you're an Apple user, just plug it in, this will light up. When it does, you can select it. You'll be able to pull up your maps, your messages, your music, several different apps on the screen, and it's gonna mirror what's on your screen, so it's gonna look very familiar. Android users, it's a little bit different looking, but you'll easily be able to figure it out. I just like it because I can pull up Google Maps, I can pull up Waze, I can pull up Apple Maps, I can pull up Spotify, Pandora, all these different apps that I regularly use. I like to be able to do it from the touchscreen instead of having to use my phone. In that sense, I can just plug it in, let it charge, and let it integrate and work for me. So this comes into play with that because I can press and hold this till I hear the beep for Siri and ask Siri to do things. So Siri, send a text to so-and-so. Siri, call this person. Siri, play this song on Spotify, that sort of thing. So a lot of access here with Siri and with the Android users for Google, right? So you can use it for both. You saw the home button that lets me toggle through these screens. So phone, we talked about. Navigation, it'll give me my next turn-by-turn direction, or a compass when I don't have that pulled up. The car does come with built-in navigation through Garmin, which you'll see right here. If you want to use your own, you can through Apple CarPlay or Android, or you can use the Garmin setup. It's easy to use. You pinch, you pull, that sort of thing. You can adjust the colors of the menus. Where to, you can run several different searches off of this. So whether I want to pull up this, now when you're driving, it's going to block some of these because they're going to want you to do it via the voice command button, which you just saw me pointing out earlier, which is right here. So easy to use and understand. You can set in your home address, pull up, different trips that you've previously taken. You can save journeys if it's somewhere you go a lot. And then categories, if I'm just looking for a gas station, a restaurant around me. They make it pretty easy to search. I like this because Honda used to do this, but I don't feel like they did as good a job. Garmin knows what they're doing. They've been doing it for years. It's just an easy to understand and work through service that they have set up for you. So that is the navigation system built into the car. Now, over here, we talked about the compass that it shows you, where it'll give you that turn-by-turn direction. I'm going to jump back into that menu we just talked about. Keep scrolling down. Now playing will just show me whatever audio I'm listening to. So if I pop on the audio here, now you can see I've got the radio on. I could use the left and right to jump between my favorite stations. It's just kind of nice that I can do that. And then if I press up or down, it'll let me toggle through different, FM, AM, anything stored to the car, social media playlists, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. So I can go through all these different things. So coming back to this menu here, maintenance, it'll give you my oil life or my tire pressure, and it'll tell you tire pressure per wheel, which I really do like. So you don't have to go hunting around your car, especially if it's cold or it's raining, to figure out which one is a little bit flatter than the others. Oil life, when you get down to 15%, it'll throw you a code right there and it'll give you an alert in the car. It'll tell you A1, A2, or B1 or B2. You can look it up. Honda's been doing this for years, and it'll tell you exactly what they're going to recommend when you get to the dealership. So whether it's an oil change in a tire rotation or filters in an oil rotation or whatever it may be, this will give you a heads up. So when you're going to the dealership, you have an understanding for, hey, what should I be expecting to hear from this dealership in case you're worried about getting overcharged or anything like that. This is kind of a check and balance system for you. All right, so backing out of that, below my settings, so this is just where I can arrange some apps. The show the tachometer, I like that because I can turn it off if I don't want to see it, or I can arrange these in an order that I would prefer. So it's kind of nice to give you that customization to move stuff up and down. Changing miles per hour to kilometers. If you don't want anything to show in the screen there, SiriusXM, you get 90 days of SiriusXM of the car. And you can see I can toggle through right here, and it'll do so across here on the top and let me know what's going on there. Or I could pull up SiriusXM and be visually seeing it running along the bottom as it changes too. So it'll do it a lot of different ways for you here. So backing out of that screen, Android Auto, we talked about Apple CarPlay. We talked about the auxiliary input in the car. So the auxiliary input is in your center console here. And it's actually a little bit tricky because it's right here where this USB is. There's a USB and the aux input is right there. So I don't know if you can see it that well, but aux input, USB. So it's hidden down in your center console. And then I've got another power outlet in here. So I've got a USB here and a USB here, and then I have two in the back. So you've got a lot of USBs for charging and anything you would need to do. All right, scrolling down, USBs we just talked about. Bluetooth audio is pretty standard. AM, I don't think I need to touch on. FM, y'all understand that. Oh, you can store music to the car, which is kind of cool. If you have a USB plugged in and you got music running through it, you could store some of that music into the hard drive of the car, which I want to say is a couple gigabytes. But I'd have to double check on that one because I don't remember, just because I don't store a lot of music to the car regularly. Social playlist is really cool. Social playlist is set up here. If you're on the same Wi-Fi, the hotspot, which is set up for this car, which is actually right here on the touchscreen, you can see I can touch it, and then I just have to make sure it's turned on up here. There'll be a button that pops up once it comes on, and then it'll give me the login information right here. So easy to access and use. You get 90 days for free, and then afterwards you can set something up through AT&T. I want to say it's right around $15 a month to have this set up for your car, but double check. Every once in a while they run a special. I've seen it anywhere from 10 to 15. It kind of fluctuates, I think, but just so you have an idea. But social playlist, what that allows you to do is it allows everyone in the car who's on that same Wi-Fi hotspot to add songs to a playlist, which is really cool because that way you're not stuck listening to just one person's genre of music, because maybe 3 hours out of a 17-hour drive is going to get real long if we were listening to polka music that Dad likes, right? So just something to keep in mind. Okay, and then jumping back to the top here. So that's kind of the menu system you saw. Press the home button and then toggle with those, and then you've got a back button to jump back out. So we went over to the left side. Let's move over to the right side of the steering wheel here, kind of show you some things. So these are going to be related to Honda Sensing. So if you press this main button, you're going to see ACC and LKS pop up there, so you can see them flashing at you. That stands for Adaptive Cruise Control and Lane Keep Assist. So Lane Keep Assist uses this button right here. If I press that, you're going to see some dotted lines appear here. And what it does is it uses that camera that's up here to detect the lines down on the road as we're driving. Once you're over 45, those dotted lines will fill in solid. Now they're filling solid, it's actively reading the road. So if I drift to the left or the right, it's going to correct and keep me centered. So you're going to feel the wheel pull to the left or the right. So it's really cool. But if you don't use your blinkers, this might get annoying to you if you're trying to change lanes and you feel that slight pull every time. So even either use your blinkers or maybe you don't use this feature as often. But let's pretend there was an emergency and I need to get over quickly. It's not going to overpower you. It's not anything that's going to distract you. You could easily pull. If you've ever been in an older car that pulls a little bit to the left or the right, that's exactly what it feels like when you're driving down the road. So just so you have an understanding of how lane keep assist works, you got to be going over 45 to work. And if you have your windshield wiper blades on, it's going to disengage this feature. So lane keep assist, that button right there. Now, using adaptive cruise control is going to be related to these 3 buttons, if I can focus. So once I get up to my speed, I would press set, and then where it says ACC off, you would see your speed. From there, I can select the distance I wanted to keep between me and cars in front of me using this button. So as I press it, you'll see more boxes or less boxes appear. The more boxes, the more space it will keep between you and that car in front of you. Meaning, I set my speed to 70, I'm coming up on a guy going 55, it's gonna pick up that guy using that camera here, and that the radar I mentioned is down in the Honda emblem in the grill. So now it's going to be actively reading that car in front of me, so it'll slow me down, keep my designated spacing with these boxes of how much spacing I want, and then when I get out from behind him, it'll take me back up to my set speed. And this way I don't have to cancel, resume, move, do any of that stuff and have to mess with it. I set it once, I get moving down the road, and every time somebody gets in front of me, it'll slow down. When I get out from behind him, it'll take me back up to my speed. So that's adaptive cruise control. Now if you want to switch over to classic cruise, press and hold, and looky there, it'll say cruise mode selected. Now you're using just a classic cruise, press and hold that same button again. And now I'm back to adaptive cruise control. So that's how you toggle between the two. If you just want classic cruise, you don't want to mess with that button, you just want to use these 3, right? So easy to understand. So that's the right side of the steering wheel. Now you do have paddle shifters in this car, so you can shift the car on your own. So if you want to downshift, upshift, and kind of affect that transmission and give yourself a little bit more control over it, you absolutely can. Now moving over here, auto on-off headlights, they are LED, and then your fog lights are LED too, and you have the controls right here. And then over on the right side, you've got your your windshield wiper controls, pull down for the front, or you can do the backs with just this right here. So that is the windshield wiper controls. Now, moving over to the touchscreen of the car, I know we've touched on it a little bit here about a couple of the features, but let's talk about the rest here. So the navigation system we talked about, Bluetooth audio, you just want to connect up, and it'll prompt you if you've never added anything to connect. If you need to connect an additional device, just go to settings, and then you can go to connections, and then go to Bluetooth and say, hey, I want to connect the device. Easy enough to do. And if you saw right back there, you have 0 of 6, so you can connect up to 6 devices to the car. So that's how that works. So Bluetooth, and that'll work related to your phone too, because it'll prompt you the first time to connect the phone, but after that, you're gonna be on your own to go to the settings and do it. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto we just talked about. In your settings, all right, so there's some different things here that you can play with that are kind of cool. Under vehicle, this is where you can control like your door lock settings, your lighting setup. So some of those features is where you can play with them here. So what I like is the door setup right here. A lot of people don't go over this when you're about to leave the dealership or on a test drive. If I want to set the door lock, so right now when I hit 10 miles an hour, it'll automatically lock the doors of the car. Well, maybe I want to change that. I can change it when I shift to park, it does it, or I can turn it off. And then if I back into that screen, auto door unlock. So this is when you're getting out of the car. So when I open my driver's side door, it then unlocks the remaining doors of the car. Well, maybe I'm the only one in the car and I don't want it doing that, right? I can change that here. Or I got kiddos in the car and I've got the child lock set on the doors, but maybe I just want to keep this, as a double protection. Hey, leave it until I shift to park or until the ignition's off, or turn it completely off. So that's where those features are right there. So I just like to show you those 2 features there, in case you're wondering, hey, how can I affect those door locks and different setups like that? And there's plenty of different things that you can play with in here. Driver assisted stuff. So this is all your Honda sensing stuff. If you want to affect, how it reads the lanes, if it's a little bit tighter, a little bit looser, that sort of thing is going to be right there. So plenty of stuff you can play with in there. I mean, you could find yourself in here messing with a lot of different things, but I just like to touch on a few of them just so you have a general understanding. Under keyless access setup, so at the very bottom, this screen is the last one I like to show people. So walkway auto lock. So this is always turned off. I like to enable it. What this is if I get out of the car and I have my key with me, if I get 10 feet from the car, it automatically locks the door for me. So that way I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I walked to the grocery store, my laptop is in the car and I don't know if I locked it, right? So let me jump back to this and just show you how to get to all these again. Settings. From here, we go to vehicle. And then if I want the door and window, that's gonna be right there. So that's the door locks, and then scrolling up, keyless access setup. This is where the walkway auto lock feature is here at the bottom. So those are the big 3 that I like to touch on. Tripometer information. So if I want to see my current previous trips, how many miles on this tank of gas, all that info, I have it right here. And that same info you could get over here. So you saw me, I can pull it up right there. So same stuff, just different presentation, right? Moving across, SMS text function, it will read text aloud to you. If you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto set up, it'll do that too, but just a different way to do it directly through Honda in case you don't want to set up your phone for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Sirius XM, you do get 90 days to play with this, and then afterwards it'd be subscription-based if you want. I highly recommend that if you decide that, wait till the very end of your trial, let them call you up. They will happily haggle with you, and you can get a better deal than what they're originally offering. USBs, I can plug a USB thumb drive into here or into that secondary one that you saw down here in the center console. I like it because I can plug a huge USB drive in there, put a bunch of music on it, and be able to listen to music off of it that way. So just a different way to access music. You saw the auxiliary port was in there also. Social playlist we talked about, AM, I don't think I need to explain that. System updates is pretty self-explanatory. The AT&T hotspot, 90 days for free, and then afterwards, I believe it's in between $10 and $15 a month. Sorry guys, you'll just have to check to make sure, depending on what the month is in the deal they're running. Storing music to the car, I already mentioned how you can do that. Plug in a USB, and then you'll be able to select this and drag that music across. Your clock right here, if you just want a general clock, right now I'm just seeing 2 on there, which is interesting. But if I want to change the clock face out, just do some different things, I absolutely can. They give you some ones you can choose from here, or you could put up your own custom image there if you wanted to. And then just depending on how you want that info to display, you can do a lot of different things here. So it's easy to set your clock and adjust times and related to that. So not hard to use. All right, so last one is Honda Link. Whenever you connect with a phone, the last thing it's going to prompt you with is to enable Honda Link to that phone. And what that means is, if you get in an accident, Honda will, and your airbags deploy, I should say, Honda will call down to you. If you don't answer, they're going to assume that you've been rendered unconscious, and they can send out EMS to you. This is 100% free to use, but the cool thing is they'll already have your VIN, year, make, model, and the color and the description of the car, right? So they can be like, and the GPS location of the car, so they can call EMS and say, hey, you're looking for, a white Honda Passport 2020. This is the VIN, and it should be located at this address. So that way, if something happens, you drive off the side of the road, nobody can see you. Well, hey, now you got somebody to help you out. So that is the touchscreen of the car, right? If you want to customize where these buttons and everything go, it's easy to do. Just press and hold. It'll pop up this screen, and then once the screen pops up, I can start moving stuff around. So I can drag stuff from over here to over here. I can even affect what's up here, so it's easy to use. Or if you want to hide something, you can hide it. So just if you want to customize this a little bit more, you absolutely can. I like that they give you a volume knob now. It's definitely a lot easier to reach over to that. You do have volume controls right here, but not everybody wants to use those. Tri-zone climate control in your AC setup, so left, right, and back, all separate of each other. I can expect here, if they're synced up, they're all working off the same temperature. If I unsync, now I can have 58, 61, and 60 right here, right? So I can adjust them all separate of each other. The fan speed is the constant. So now I'm controlling the fan in the front. If I flip over to the back, now I control the fan in the back, right? And what's really cool, check out that rear lock button. So that way if the kiddos like to press buttons in the back, no thank you, not anymore. You can press them, they won't do nothing. Your rear defrost and front defrost are right here, and then the rest of the, the AC buttons. I don't think they need a lot of explanation. Now down below that, you'll see I do have my heat controls of the seats. You do have heated seats in the front and the back of this car. My heat controls in the back are on the door, so just know that you have those available. Or excuse me, they're in the center console. We went over those earlier. I've got a power outlet here and another USB here, and then I moved to my shifter. My shifter is set up with not a classic shifter, it's buttons, but it's easy to understand and use. When you throw it, it highlights for you. When you throw it in reverse, it'll automatically pull up your backup camera for you. You've got 3 different views right here. So I've got a wide angle view with 170 degrees, standard backup camera right here, and I've got one aim straight down, so this is where my hatch will open up to. And if I'm parallel parking, I want that car on the other side of this solid line, and you'll notice that those 2 lines are on every screen that you look at. So this is great if I'm backing up to another curb, a garage, another car, a bush, a pole, whatever it may be, so I can see exactly where it is. Or if I have a hitch on this vehicle, maybe I want to see, so I'm backing up to my trailer, this is going to come into play a lot. Now, with this related, you have cross-traffic monitoring. So this is going to come into play as, hey, I'm stuck in between 2 big SUVs, I can't see much around me, I'm backing out. I've got sensors off the back of the car that'll alert you when someone's coming from the left or the right. It'll give you arrows which way they're coming from and give you an audible alert in the car. So not only does this car have parking sensors, but it has cross-traffic monitoring too. So you've got a lot working for you to help you when you're backing up, to make sure you don't hit anything. When you're backing up to something, it'll start beeping and it'll show you lines in the car to show you how close you're getting to something using your parking sensors. So just be aware of that. Now, the rest of these is standard. It'll shift on its own, you'll see, and it'll highlight for you. If you want to switch between normal or snow over here, this is just traction control settings. You've got them, and it gives you kind of a cool little graphic while you're doing it. So that's always kind of cool and fun. Now, this button right here is related to the idle start stop. Hey, you can see me. Hi. So every time I get in the car, I would have to use this button if I want to turn it off. Because what it's set up to do is when I come to a complete stop, I'm sitting at a light, it can turn off the engine but keep the rest of the electronics in the car and the AC on. And when you're using it, you'll see whether it's enabled or disenabled. So right here, it'll show you. So if I'm pressing it, you'll know when it's on or off, right? So idle, stop, stop. Now in the center console, we talked about it earlier, you've got a power outlet and you do have a USB and then the aux input. And I like that you can store it away and hide stuff because I don't want all my belongings to be showing. What I really like is something simple here. You can bring them all the way down and they lock as you climb up. So I just like that they do that in case you want a certain angle on your arm. So kind of cool. You got perforated leather right here. You do have the heated seats that we talked about. This is a black interior on this model. You've got black on the floorboards always, black on your door sills always, and black up here always too, and that's to prevent glare. And then of course to prevent dirt down there. So you've got above you, you do have a memory, home link set up here, so garage clicker, gate clicker, that sort of thing. I do have a moonroof that I can use with my button controls right here. I do have, a mirror here that also will hold sunglasses, so I can pop it open and store stuff, or keep an eye on the kiddos or whoever's in the back. And then of course I do have my buttons for my assistance related to Honda and Honda Link. So if I need to call for emergency help, which you can press and check it out, they'll answer for you, or the assistant, because you can use, I believe you also have the availability to use concierge service for this car. They give you a 90-day subscription, and after that it's up to you if you want to continue it. You'll also have the ability to, I believe, lock your doors from your phone and start the car from the phone. So there's some different services that Honda offers that you can check. Go to hondalink.com. And they would be more than happy to go over those features with you. So Honda Link, that's how it's spelled, and then .com, right? So easy enough to understand. So looking out the back window and kind of seeing, hey, if I'm looking over my shoulder, what am I working with as far as blind spots and things like that? You actually got good visibility in this car when you're looking around your corners here. So up next, we are going to go on a test drive of this car. I will go over what features you're gaining by staying in this model, what you lose by dropping a model. Hey, do I think it's worth it to be in the touring? What's the quality of the ride like? Is it quiet inside? Is it a rough ride? And then of course, hey, do these Honda sensing features actually work? So up next on the test drive. What's up, guys? So I'm inside of this 2020 Honda Passport, and this is the touring model. This is a two-wheel drive model. So we're gonna take it out for a ride and talk about, the features, what it, how it rides, what's the quality like, how do these safety features work, and then of course, hey, how does it stack up if I'm looking at other models and things of comparison? So first thing I'm gonna do is take it off this stop sign here. We're gonna give it some gas here and see what 280 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6 runs like here. So it's in a lot of my other vehicles, but I always like to check per car and, with the weight ratios and all that. So give it some gas, she goes. You can hear her drop down gears here for me, and I'm quickly up to 60. So usually it takes me about till now in some of the 4-cylinders to get to 60 right about here. I'm up to 60 a lot faster in this car, so you've got go juice if you need it. I like that it shifts nice and smooth. I was able to transition through gears. I didn't feel it jerk down in any gears like that. So as far as the takeoff goes, you'll have more than enough power to get on the highway, get past people, and get around them if you need to get moving. So we're coming up here on a U-turn, and I'm gonna set up my lane keep assist system to keep me centered in my lane, and then after that I'll set up the adaptive cruise control and we'll hop on the highway. So that way we can kind of check to make sure it keeps us centered in the lane and kind of get that feeling. And then of course test the sensors and of course the radar system to make sure it's detecting cars in front of me, and it'll slow down and speed me up accordingly using that. Now, if I'm looking at this car, chances are maybe I'm looking at a Passport too. A lot of times I got a lot of people kind of cross shopping, and maybe you're looking at other SUVs, whether it be a Highlander, or whatever the case may be. A lot of people are shopping Toyota and Honda at the same time, so I find that those two regularly cross shop. So maybe you're looking at 2, 3, 4 cars, and there are plenty of cars that kind of fall into this category. But what this lands in is that, hey, I want almost that third row, but I don't need it. I'd rather have the cargo space. So that's what really differentiates my Pilot buyers a lot of times from my Passport buyers. I do like that this car is aimed at a little bit more outdoors, a little bit more active crowd. So, the suspension under the car is gonna be a little bit beefier, relates a little bit more to the Ridgeline than the Passport in that sense. So you're gonna get a little bit sturdier setup. So if you are gonna take it somewhere, you wanna know that you're protected and you're using quality gear, not something that's set up to be, hey, just crawling around going to the mall or going to the grocery store, things like that. So it depends on what you're buying and what you're looking for, right? So, all right, so I got my lane keep assist set up here, and it's keeping me nice and centered. So you can see my hands right now. It's keeping me centered in my lane, so that's fantastic. We're about to get on the highway here. So the next thing I'm gonna wanna do is set up for my adaptive cruise control. So I got a car right in front of me. We're gonna get the speed gassed up here and get my speed set. All right here, and then I'm gonna set my distance, which immediately it picked up the car in front of me. I have it set to almost 70. It dropped me down to 56 to say, hey, there's a car in front of you. Let's wait till you get more space, which that car is now cleared out and it's taking me back up to speed. So not only is that working, but I drifted a little bit there to the right, and immediately my lane departure warning system came on too to let me know, hey guys, you're starting to drift off the shore of the road, pay attention. So a lot of safety features set up here to help protect you as you drive down the road. What I really like about that is these features translate really well as the car ages. So maybe this car is gonna live with me for some years, and then eventually maybe it's gonna land to one of my kids. I wanna know that, hey, do I have safety settings and different things set up for this car to help protect them? Do I have a backup camera? Do I have sensors off the back of the car? Do I have parking sensors on this car? Absolutely I do. So you've got a lot of different features here working to your advantage to help make sure that anyone in this car is safe while you're driving it, or if there's a generation later that may end up owning this car, I want to know that they're going to be in a safe, reliable car too. Well, what's great is it is a Honda, so they're known for reliability and safety. and the chances of this thing making it long enough to see that, you know, that kid who may be heading off to college or whatever it may be, there's a good likelihood this car will still be around and running. So I'm gonna move over here. Now let's talk about what the touring model gets you. So why am I climbing up to this touring model from an EXL? Maybe I want built-in navigation on the car. Okay. Maybe I want a power tailgate on the back. All right. Maybe I want home link up front where I can set my garage gate clicker, all those things. Maybe I want memory seating in the car. So these would be some of the reasons that I'm jumping up. Why am I moving up to a touring? Those are gonna be some of your top reasons. Now, the EXL has leather, and is related to navigation. You can plug your phone in through the USB and use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So for that reason, I like the EXL. I would rather save myself about $4 to $5 grand and stay down in that model. But if you find yourself needing these items, or the last car you kind of did something like that and you just really want it built in, I get it. Maybe this is the model for you. You want a little bit higher powered stereo system. You want heated seats not only in the front, but you want heated seats in the back too. That would be a reason that, hey, you need to move up to the touring model. If not, and you're saying, hey, I don't necessarily need a lot of those features, well, then you could absolutely drop down to an EXL model and save yourself quite a bit of money, or know that you're shopping the wrong car. And if you're going to compare that to other cars out there, hey, maybe you need to be looking at the right models and know that you're at the right price point. Now, when it comes to these cars, related to, you know, your spending and what you got as far as, you know, wiggle room when you're shopping, I want to say from what I remember, it was around the 2,500 range, and then as you climb into these higher models, you have a little bit more. So just to give you a rough idea, depending on also what Honda's running, maybe an interest rate, maybe they're doing cash back, you know what I mean, something of that nature. They don't do huge huge rebates, anything like that. It is a Honda, so chances are you know that. But if you didn't and you're used to shopping domestic vehicles, be aware you're never going to see a commercial that says, you know, $8 grand off like you're going to see a Ford F-150. It just doesn't exist in Honda. So they're a little bit more clear cut, or, you know, cookie cutter in that sense, that you have specific trim levels at certain prices, and then from there the markup is, you know, it's pretty easy to understand. You can hop on Kelley Blue Book, and a lot of times they're pretty darn close to exactly what the markup is, and they'll tell you what the invoice pricing is on these cars. So it's no secret there. At that point, it then turns into, well, what kind of interest rate can I get on this specific vehicle, either through Honda or through your bank or credit union? And then what programs do they have running? You know, is there a program for $1,000 back, you know, if they're conquesting, or if they're saying, hey, if you have a previous Honda in your family, we'll give you this money, whatever it may be. Ask, call your local dealership and ask. A lot of times they'll tell you. They want to sell cars, and sometimes being transparent helps. Not all dealerships are going to, but a lot of them will. So just be aware of that. And then there's always a military program running, and there's always a college graduate program running. The college graduate program, I find a lot of people don't know, it's within the last 2 years that you graduated, so you don't have to have just graduated. So maybe you went back to school, or maybe you're, you know, in your 30s, you're not a traditional student, you went to the military first, or whatever it may be. Know that you can take advantage of that. You just have to, you do have to finance through Honda to get it. And a lot of times the rates are pretty legit rates, so just pay attention to that, know that. And then the military program, you'd have to be either active duty or retired, in which case you provide a DD-214. So if you're military, you probably know what I'm talking about. So that's the two programs that are always running through Honda. Now, ride quality, nice smooth ride. This reminds me a lot of a Passport, or excuse me, a lot of a Pilot. So the Passport and Pilot, a lot of comparisons are made because they are very similar. Ride's nice and smooth, ride's nice and quiet. I could easily have a conversation with anybody sitting around me or on the phone via Bluetooth, and I wouldn't have to yell or anything of that nature. So this would be a great car to take a road trip in. I've got lots of space, I've got a good amount of storage space, I've got a roof rack system on top in case I want to throw anything up there, whether it be more storage space for more luggage, or maybe it's something for, you know, whether it be a surfboard, maybe it be bicycles, maybe it be snowboards, depending on where you live, right? I'm here in Austin, Texas, so none of that snow stuff is going to apply to me ever. I might be able to throw a paddleboard up top. But as far as the car goes, you've got a nice quiet ride, you've got a nice smooth ride, you've got a lot of Honda sensing features that work really well. My lane keep assist again is picked up for me, and it's keeping me centered nice inside of my lane because I am going over 45 and I don't have my windshield wiper blades on. So the systems really do work well in this car. I like that it's a little bit beefier look because I personally am just attracted to that look. I want something to look a little bit more off-road ready and that nature, so I want to know that the car will handle it. This would be a great car to take camping. It's exactly what they're promoting in the commercials. It's a good car, not only for a family, but an active family, or just an active couple, or even an active single person, and you just want that extra space. Now, mind you, if you're a single person, I might mention, hey, maybe you could drop down to a CRV, but, you know, ground clearance and some of those things may play a role for you related to why you're shopping this car specifically. But at the price point, the touring model, I am sitting at $40,000, so it is a higher price point, but mind you, I do have an EXL below that I can drop down to, and a Sport even below that. So no kind of that you can fluctuate around in these. Other than that, I would say fantastic car, good ride quality. It really just comes down to, one, do you want to own a touring? Do you want to spend that extra money? And do you need those extra features that I mentioned earlier? So if those aren't, drop down a model. If not, I really do like this car. I don't think there's a lot that compares to it out there. You know, you may look at a Toyota or something, but outside of that, I don't think you're looking at an Atlas like VW, because that would be more of a Pilot. A lot of these other vehicles are kind of aimed more at that 3-row centric vehicle owner with a larger family that doesn't want to own a minivan. This is aimed at a little bit different crowd, so for that reason, I really do like this car. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can always call or text me. I'll put my number down here in the screen. So 737-443-9555. If you want to email me, the letter JF_1064 at Yahoo. I'm more than happy to answer a call, a text, an email. I got my phone on me regularly. I don't mind talking to people. Or you can always comment on the YouTube video. While I have that said, please do me 3 favors. If I can hold 3 fingers up, my pinky doesn't work that well. 1, please subscribe to the video. 2, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and then leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Was it helpful? Do you wish I would show something else in the future? Is there something else you'd like to see related to a touchscreen, a certain feature the car offers, or another car? Let me know what I can do for you, because I'm here to help. I'm always looking for fresh content, and I want to be out there for you guys. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.